Okay, I'm sorry, Emily, but things have happened last few days, which I'll skip the details of, that forced me to cancel our appointment at the Japanese restaurant. I'm no longer in the department. I've moved away a lot for security reasons. I apologize again, but the research has intensified. Again, without going into details, which would in fact imply that I would write 1,000-page book by text message, I have made sure that the authorities realize that Daniel Palawan or College, Abe Pierre, or even the three of them together are in fact harmless little boys next to me, supporting evidence that will soon be provided in a masterful way by a spiritual titan. Yes, I fully assume to be a spiritual titan, and I am not ashamed to present myself as I am. The people I just mentioned are spiritual giants. You can also see me as someone who, among other things, is in charge of awakening other titans for the greater good of human race. That is still so vile today, so insolent, so unconscious. When the spiritual titan speaks, the spiritual giants keep silent, listen and learn. Yes, the evidence that I am a spiritual titan, a kind of entity still unknown by your people, is legion. Titans only manifest themselves at the end of the cycle, only at the end of time. I'm very patient by providing all the evidence for my claims and statements in dribs and drabs. It's actually more than patience when I actually have eternity ahead of me. Be patient, my brother and sisters, about receiving the proofs. Yes, all the proof without any exception will arrive gradually in time. Not theories, not interpretations, not opinions. The absolute evidence that will shake the human race for its greater good will arise step by step in due course. Certainly for the greatest good of the human race. Yes, so that it can finally enjoy in good humor or deserve the qualifier human being by finally uniting in a great surge of solidarity to help the most destitute, the unfortunate children who are starving in the world, the millions of children who are prisoners of Masonic, oligarchic, institutional networks that reduce them from the youngest age to the state of sexual slaves. In the meantime, although I love you with unconditional love, although I am sent only as a mercy for the world, I still consider you all absolutely as a cattle. I'm your shepherd. I'm your king. And I give you orders. You are free to follow them or not. But I impose my non-negotiable conditions. I give you orders as king of France, whether you like it or not. I'm of course also your one and only way out of certain hell, which you would not dare to imagine even in your darkest Hollywood horror movies pathetic, or your worst nightmares. Even snuff movies are nothing compared to the hell that awaits you if you don't obey my royal orders. There's hell in my right eye and heaven in my left eye. It will be up to humanity to choose. I often pass, except for those who know how to read between the lines and perceive beyond the forms, for a pretentious person or a boaster when I cheerfully show off and exalt what the Creator has put of more beautiful and better in me. But, as I often repeat, I don't care in the end what the human being thinks of me. The only look and judgment that matters to me is that of pure perception, the holy look of God, the holy judgment of God. The human look, the human judgment is worth absolutely nothing to me, at least as far as the perception of my being is concerned, of what I really am, fundamentally. If you are, for example, the best in a field, or even in several fields, you don't have to hide it or to be ashamed of it. You don't have to be ashamed to say it for fear of human judgment, for fear of being seen as a proud person, or someone with an overinflated ego, someone who is not humble. Not admitting to being the best in a field, when this is absolutely the case, and when it comes to introducing oneself. Not admitting for fear of being badly judged is not humility, no. It is cowardice and dishonesty. It is a form of hypocrisy, not to assume fully what we are, and moreover, submission to the gaze and judgment of men. And many people believe that this is humility. False modesty is a very subtle and vicious way to pass off pride as humility. And in contrast, who knows that false pride, borrowed in its form but emptied of its substance, can in reality hide a deep humility, a tiny minority. I say this without any difficulty, unless you find a person who has made major scientific discoveries in the three most important fundamental areas governing human life, using them as a pressure tactic to abolish world hunger and free millions of children from the criminal network of the state, the Masons, and the oligarchs who imprisoned them and reduced them to the state of sexual slaves. Unless you find such a person who, instead of accepting billions, provokes by thinking of our poverty and retorting that he is not here to shine your golden cup but to melt it along with your icy heart, unless you find such a person, I'm indeed the most spiritually powerful man on this planet. I'm the king of France, whether you like it or not. Yes, I'm an extremely provocative person when it comes to a noble cause. I'm not only a humorist, dance or language teacher, writer or sociologist, psychologist, translator or interpreter, journalist or investigator, volunteer or educator, teacher or actor, spy or undercover agent, writer or popularizer. I'm also a scientist who has made scientific discoveries that make all of humanity dependent on me for a quantum leap in the science of memory, language learning, and about the process of the human aging. Need I also add that I'm also a world record holding linguist? How can you really prop such a person? No one on earth has as much pressure tactic over humanity as I do. Many are waiting for Jesus to return. Some believe that I'm Jesus, others say that I'm a being of light, or that I seem to come out of a fairy tale, which would make me a Prince Charming. But I prefer to say the Prince of this world, because I've subdued the previous one. I was even certified once that I was a Greek god. I'm none of these things, at the big brother of Jesus. Since my little brother and his soft way was not enough, I introduced myself in your country by using the strong way, without violence, but I come to shock the human race by the art and the verb, the science and the facts, and the application of science that only I possess, literally applying it to myself, taunting all those who would still dare to challenge me, and also proving by this my claims in an implacable and indisputable way. Do not think that I have come to bring peace on earth. I have not come to bring peace, but the sword. These are the words of Jesus. I'm that sword, so don't hesitate to wield me if you sincerely want my kingdom to come. And so vote for the King of France through a unique blockchain. I've plenty of time to operate because, aside from my soul being immortal, I'm also physically immortal. And more than just greatly slowing down the process of my own aging, I'm also able to rejuvenate when I'm away from your dirty hearts. And when I'm gonna bring the indisputable proofs, it would be wise that more and more of you declare me King of France through a democratic blockchain. I will give back to the French nation its letters of nobility. I'll re-establish the royalty and the frank. But if at the end of the world you don't want me as your king, very well, I will leave your world, leaving you as king, the entity that hates your race the most in the universe. And you will live in a dimension where the light is no more, eternally, and smaller sounds of light will be no more. You will then have all the time to appreciate what is a world without light, since you rejected this light. I am God's last attempt to save your race from a certain hell, which you would never dare to imagine the extent of what it really is. Declare me unanimously King of France, or be prepared to enter the kingdom of hell. Don't try to understand someone who has more than 1,000 IQ. It would be a great waste of time, and you'd get buried in a hole and plenty of scientism speculations. You would get confused in theories and misinterpretation about me. What you may be able to understand, I simplify and popularize, and will appear progressively on your internet as the years go by, and will be accessible to the understanding of all. I plan to re-establish royalty in France, and to become king out of pity for this nation and its people, who have become hostages of an extremely corrupt and perverse Masonic republic. I will become king of France simply because the people will have chosen me, and it is with the fruits that one recognizes the tree, and my fruits are divine, and will be gradually exhibited in length